I want to share with you what the heck is going on in this drawing and why I drew it, and a pretty interesting coincidence, and one very important message I want you to take away. I'm Brandy Agerbeck, and I grew up in a Muppet family, not a Disney family. So instead of princes and princesses and happily ever after, I grew up with a troop of weirdos. Now, my sister, who's 4 years younger, might have a different take on this, but I remember when the Muppet Show was on, everything stopped and we watched. And have always loved the Muppets. Always, always, always. So this particular drawing was drawn for yesterday's Drawing Bee, which is a call where we talk in my year-long community teaching visual thinking. I choose a piece of content once a month, and anyone who would like to draws that piece of content. We hop on a live call. We get to see how each of us interpreted the same piece of content and learn so much from both the practice and the conversation. And boy, howdy, I did not mean to be mean. This is an exceedingly good video that I chose, but it was not good for a drawing bee because usually a drawing bee is about maybe 10 or 15 minutes long. The content, it could be video, it could be audio. This was a 40-minute video from Defunctland, from Kevin, who does phenomenal work. And I was so excited about the Muppet Show as a theme because it bridged the call we had about imagery in visual thinking before, and the call that's going to happen Friday, which is our final module call that's all about flow, creating movement and direction in your work. So I thought, you know what? It's a final call. We'll treat this as like the capstone, sort of graduation. But it was 40 minutes and it was densely, 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 densely packed. And bless Kathy, high five to Kathy as the one person who joined me, who made a drawing and joined me on the call. And she had 2 iterations of her drawing. And from our conversation, I was so inspired that I went from this iteration, I pulled out that thought bubble, that word speech bubble, and made a second iteration right here. But what I did not realize was that this was video 3 out of a 6-part series on the entire work of Jim Henson. So when this video started, it immediately went into beautiful detail, but so densely packed that it was very challenging to figure out of 40 minutes, what am I going to fit on a single piece of paper? Because you absolutely have to make decisions. All that information was not going to fit within one drawing. And whenever we're doing visual thinking, it's not our job to be a recording device. It's our job to interpret, look for patterns, look for connections, and make our own meaning of what we are watching or what we're listening to. So this particular piece, again, exceedingly well done video, very densely packed. My approach to it was to listen to it several times as I was doing some graphics work, so just kind of listening for what the patterns were. I pulled out of this idea that a theme that I kept on hearing was this idea of finding the voice of the Muppet Show. So nobody had ever made a Muppet Show before. It could be anything. And definitely some of the specifics were about very specific character voices, but I wanted to pull out what were the major themes across that 40-minute video that made the Muppet Show the Muppet Show. And what I hadn't done in my first iteration was make those themes very clear. So I wanted to grab another piece of paper and really give different areas of the page their own space to pull out those 5 major themes. First, we had the show within a show concept, which gave the opportunity to, well, first it was really flexible, and it had the opportunity to be about on stage or backstage or speaking to the audience. And then we had Kermie, as our fearless leader, and how he could voice his frustrations and you could understand his frustrations because he was just trying to lead a group of weirdos to put on a show. So we have Kermit as our relatable main character. Up here we had musical numbers. And early on, one of the important parts of the musical numbers was not just that Jim Henson could create new twists on old favorites, and he had a vast love of music and all kinds of different music. But I love this fun fact that the more musical numbers there were in these early episodes, the less the characters had to talk, which meant the more time they got to develop the characters, because all of this was happening really quickly and very iteratively. So the celebrity guest stars, could not pick a single guest star, so I have sort of a stand-in here. Something I appreciated about this part was that they would ask the celebrity guest star what they wanted to do, instead of assuming they would do the thing they were known for. So it gave these guests a great opportunity to show a different side of themselves. And absolutely, absolutely had to pull out the beauty of the teamwork that happened. Now, this just happened to be a photo I found where I liked that we could see both the Muppeteers and the Muppets. Absolutely like that we had both Kermit and Fozzie in the video, and wanted to have the faces of some of the Muppeteers in the drawing itself. And now this here is absolutely a line from the Muppet movie, not the Muppet Show, but I had to pull out the team of dreamers, and how incredible the teamwork was and the collaboration, and really this idea of how the team was always looking to Jim Henson for his vision and his dedication. And he was not the kind, like, he was a very gentle, quiet leader, very collaborative leader, a different personality of leader, but a leader nonetheless. And looking at how long these folks worked with him clearly showed that the collaboration and the work they were doing meant a lot to them as well. I will absolutely put a link in so you can take a closer look at all the stuff that's on this page. But I had the call with Kathy, sat down and made my second drawing, uploaded the drawing and the video to our member space, packed up my stuff, headed home. And as I was heading home, I listened to all of this. I was listening to episode 4 about Fraggle Rock, which I never really watched because we didn't have HBO. Episode 5 that was about Muppet Babies and some of the licensing, and somewhere in there was movie work. The 6th episode, I think, certainly was about the last, maybe Labyrinth, the last of TV shows Jim Henson worked on. Absolutely the negotiations with Disney, who he wanted to take the legacy of the Muppets forward. And unfortunately, too much of that 6th episode, importantly, much of that 6th episode was about Jim Henson's memorial. And Jim Henson was the first stranger whose death really hit me. I was in high school, I was in health class when we heard that Jim Henson had died of pneumonia. And it really got me. I know we talk a lot about parasocial relationships these days. And I knew I didn't know him. I didn't feel like I knew him. I just absolutely admired the work that he did and everyone around him did. How joyful and silly and funny and daring all of this work was. And listening to that 6th episode, Kevin points out, how old was Jim Henson when he passed away? He was 53. I'm 51. Please, please, please take care of yourselves. Clearly, Jim Henson had 1,000 ideas at once and was working on many of them at a time. Clearly, he loved his work and liked working hard. And please take care of yourselves. There are different factors that went into, you can never know exactly what happened. I know a lot of the news was about being Christian Scientist, and did he wait longer to go to the hospital? I really appreciate Frank Oz. Early in the 3rd part video, he talked about how, Jim Henson's character, his personality was soft and gentle nature, and in contrast, Frank Oz was direct, aggressive, and sarcastic. But the dichotomy between the two of them was what made their friendship work. And bless Frank Oz for basically saying he thought that the negotiations with Disney were what made Jim Henson sick. And to hear how much hope he had in what that could be, and how he was absolutely willing to sell everything but the Sesame Street Muppets to Disney, but Disney was absolutely freaking relentless that they wanted Sesame Street. So they never reached an agreement before Jim Henson passed away. And I can't draw a straight line there. But all I want to say is please take care of yourselves. The absolutely bizarre, I was already hit by age 53, getting myself home, thought about it all night, continued to learn about Jim Henson and the other beautiful folks who worked with him. And today just happens to be, this all happened last night, today happens to be Jim Henson's birthday. If he was still alive, he would be celebrating a very long life of 89 years. And we can't say he would have had that long, but holy crow, I know I wanted more than 53 years of his work. And yeah, so just needed to put that somewhere. Story about the Muppets, some of those themes that I really appreciated in the Defunctland video, and never take any day for granted. I will also shout out a second Muppet drawing I made just because I can. So as I was developing the Agerbeck method course, I needed a piece of content to illustrate how much organization and drawing you could do with 2 single pens when you use those 2 pens, 2 different colors, and use 2 pens with thinner and thicker lines and different kinds of shading. So I chose this absolutely delightful article by Dahlia Lithwick, Muppet Theory, the idea that all Muppets are either an order Muppet or a chaos Muppet. And you can see I picked a Kermit green Papermate flare and a black Papermate flare, and how everything in this drawing is made with those 2 pens. And this shows you lots of different line weights and shading you could get from just 2 pens. So I'll absolutely, you could click the link wherever it is and get a closer look at both of these drawings. But just wanted to sing the praises of everyone who created the Muppets and Jim Henson's too short life. And again, please, please, please take care of yourselves.